What is going on, everyone? We have news on Alec Baldwin shooting the camera woman. We're going to tell you after this. So, Alec Baldwin, we all know, was on the set of Rust, fired a round, should have been a fake round, should have been should not have had a bullet on it, fired it, killed a camera
Like a
woman.
blank or
Yeah,
something, right?
should have been a blank. Fired it and killed a camera woman. And the latest news on the block is that it might be sabotage.
Yeah, that's what the lawyers are speculating for the armorer, trying to say that there was no bullet when she checked it, when she prepared the guns, and somehow a live round got in there. So,
Yeah,
do you think
so
they're just like trying to protect their client, or
I have no idea because the job of the armorer, I presume I'm not an armorer, but I presume the job of the armorer is to check all guns, make sure they're cleared, make sure that everything in the gun is, a blank. There's no actual bullet on the end of any of the casings. I mean, it seems pretty self-explanatory to me because if you're using guns on set, even if they're supposed to be fake guns, which I hear this gun actually wasn't a prop gun, but
right?
if you're using guns on set, someone has to know how to operate guns and the safety behind them. So
Yeah, and I don't think she was heavily experienced. This was her second job, but she said she was 24, I believe, and but she said she had been around guns since she was 16 years old, and all her life, so
I
or
mean,
adult life. So, but
I, I
somebody made a huge mistake here and gave a loaded weapon to Alec Baldwin.
yeah. So I tend to believe that maybe sabotage is probably a real thing. Either that or Alec Baldwin just had a grudge on this cameraman, which I doubt. But it's pretty difficult to mistake a blank for a live round. A live round has an actual bullet at the end of it, and a blank doesn't. They
Right.
look physically different. The sizes are different. And one thing I want to mention on this is we should be using prop guns on a movie set. We shouldn't be using a gun that could accept a live round. So if you put a live round in, it's going to be longer than a blank. And so the feeding of a live round should jam the gun. There shouldn't be enough space in for a live round to even feed into a gun on set.
Right.
So
And this is like the days of CGI. There's no reason to have a real gun, in my opinion. Like
see,
you can achieve all the sound and the look of a real gun without it being a real gun on set.
yeah, I will disagree a little bit. I think having a real gun on set, pulling the trigger on a real gun, you're gonna get realistic recoil because it's real. It's
Mhm.
not like it's fake. It's real. It's like actually real. So you're gonna get something from that, and uh, of
That's a good
course,
point.
there is good CGI. You should be. If you have a good actor, they should be able to act accordingly. But I mean, all of this really, this is just a huge tragedy, and someone really, really screwed up big time.
Yeah. And we got video right from Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, so we have some media from Alec Baldwin speaking. So I guess let's roll it.
This weekend, Alec Baldwin breaking his silence.
What do you want to know?
Speaking to media for the first time since he fired a deadly shot on set of the independent film Rust.
I've been ordered by the sheriff's department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't.
Baldwin routinely talking with investigators,
I talk to the cops every day.
along with the husband of the late cinematographer Halyna Hutchins.
He is in shock. He has a 9-year-old son. We are, in constant contact with him.
The encounter at times emotionally charged.
They're
You
mortified.
guys, you know what?
Would you-
No details.
That seems. I understand that they're very. There's a lot of emotion to play in this. It's obviously not something, or I presume not something that they wanted to happen. And his entire career, his entire life is at stake if this trial or however the investigation goes south, or goes not the goes the wrong way. He could be in jail for a very long time. But I mean, we all know as an investigation goes, you can't spill the beans on the investigation because then someone could come in. So we don't. I feel like we don't need to be like that rude.
Yeah, I think they feel a little bit ruffled ruffle feathers here because they're in Vermont trying to get away from this whole thing,
Yeah,
and the media has been tracking them down like all week. They've been at
I
restaurants and
understand. Yeah,
paparazzi, so
I mean
you can see she's filming them back right here. So
yeah, I mean I totally understand the emotions at play. I mean they've probably been hounded, like they've been getting questions for days. They don't want this, but I they can just walk away. I mean you can just say sorry, not taking questions, and get out. I
right.
mean,
Do me a favor. I'm gonna answer the question.
The famed 30 Rock actor and his wife Hilaria aggravated when photographers struggled to remember Hutchins' name.
Halyna.
Yes,
Her
I
name
met
is
with her
Halyna. If you're spending this much time waiting for us, you should
don't know
her
her
name.
name?
Her name is Halyna.
She was my friend. She was my friend.
Earlier this month, authorities say Baldwin mistakenly fired live ammo on set, striking Hutchins in the chest. Moments earlier, the assistant director had yelled "cold gun," meaning the weapon was safe to use.
clearly it was not safe to use. So who's the like that's the armorer saying cold gun?
Right.
Uh, I mean, does this come back down onto the armorer at some point? Like, because it's her job to make sure that it's a cold gun. I
Right.
mean, or does this come down on Alec Baldwin? Does this come down on both of them? I mean, who knows?
Right. I mean, you almost think that she would have to be connected to it in some way, charged in some piece of this death,
Yeah,
for because that was her job, right? Is to make sure the guns were safe.
yeah. I mean, I hate to say that it's her fault, but I mean, at the current stage that we're in, with as little information as we have, I I would put more blame on her than on him, because the second that gun leaves her hand, it's on her.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people speculating that like anybody that operates guns, they would know that you don't ever point them at someone.
Yeah, it's
But
like one of the first rules of gun safety.
right,
Always pretend it's a loaded gun and don't point it in a direction that you don't want a bullet to
right.
go.
But then again, if he was being like instructed as part of the shot that he
Yeah.
was supposed to shoot at this gun and make a live round go off, not or a dummy round, that way you just get the sound and the look for
Yeah.
for the picture. Um, but most of the time, I think they never have a person behind the camera when they shoot at a gun like that to get those down the barrel views.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I'm gonna say the same thing. I mean, you shouldn't have a person that the cameraman. There shouldn't be a person behind that camera. I mean, on a movie set, I think there should be only prop guns. It should be physically impossible to put a standard live round into a gun. And on top of that, I think if you're firing into a camera to get a down the barrel shot, there should be no one downrange of the barrel. And possibly, as we were talking, with CGI and with camera effects, we should be able to fire a gun that is never pointed at someone, and you fire a live, not a live round, but like a real like blank, and then be able to stitch clips together to make it look as though you're pointing it at someone.
Right.
So
And the other thing about this is there was some kind of turmoil going around with this movie set that the day before the entire cast had walked off the set. And I've also heard
suspicious.
that there was like this was a low budget film and that they were just trying to get people as cheap as they could and props as cheap as they could. And so I wonder if that contributed in some way.
Yeah, they
So,
didn't have money to buy prop guns, so they use real guns. And when you use real guns, they can go off with real bullets.
right.
Still, Baldwin defending the production.
We were a very, very, well-oiled crew shooting a film together, and then this horrible event happened.
Some crew members on the ground say otherwise, walking off set shortly before the shooting over safety concerns, according to a source familiar with the matter.
People walking off set due to safety concerns, and now we have a real reason to walk off set because something happened.
I mean, right before the
Yeah.
shooting happened.
This
so
is, I mean, it's really
sounds
suspicious.
too coincidental.
It sounds too coincidental. It sounds suspicious. Why would people coincidentally walk off set, walk off their job,
Right.
and then hours later, however long it is, someone dies because, someone gets shot. I mean, how coincidental is that?
But Russ Movies Productions writing, "We were not made aware of any official complaints." The 63-year-old now turning his attention to what this tragedy means for the industry.
So what has to happen now is we have to realize that when it does go wrong, and it's this horrible catastrophic thing, some new measures have to take place.
So I mean, he's not wrong. This, new measures need to be taken into account. I don't know how you can, going forward, trust that you're not firing a live round, because I mean, other than making it some kind of a federal law that you're not allowed to use real guns as prop guns, or I mean, the only way to do that I feel like would be to take blanks have to be a certain caliber that a real gun can't be. I mean, you have to create this custom sized caliber only legally allowed to be used to fire blanks. You cannot put a bullet on it, and then that means you're not going to be able to fire that out of another gun. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, sometimes it takes tragedy to create action, and this might be
That's
one of those
true.
times. So, and especially a state like California, I think for sure you're going to see that's where most of your movies are filmed.
Yeah.
You're going to see some laws change to keep something like this from happening.
This should have never happened. I mean, with the law, with the safety in place, this should have never happened, but it did. And I mean, things are gonna have to change. This is tragic. Even if neither the armorer or Alec Baldwin have any play in this, I mean, this is still a tragedy.
I'm sure this is going to weigh on Alec Baldwin for a long time. Like,
Oh,
this
his
is
whole
going to be
life.
a life-changing
Even
experience.
if he is not the one that loaded that live round in, like presuming he didn't, I mean, this is a life-changing event for him mentally. He's gonna be drained for the rest of his life. I mean,
Right.
This is not this is not something anyone wants to have on their chest. But
Well, I wanted to ask you, though, real quick. So what do you think should be the determination here if this goes to court? Like, is this some kind of accidental shooting? Is this manslaughter? I think that's the definition of manslaughter is an accidental killing of someone.
yeah,
Or is this a homicide? Like, could Alec Baldwin be charged homicide?
I think
Or even the armorer? Is she?
yeah. So I feel like I would need more information on this to really have my opinion. But I mean, it does. I would say if Alec Baldwin has no play in there being a live round in there, then I think he should be obvious. I mean, manslaughter is an accidental killing. I mean, he did accidentally kill someone. I feel like he should be. I feel like that charge should be brought up against him. If he did nothing, if he did or followed all protocols, I don't think he should be charged necessarily. If he followed all protocols, he followed all protocols. He did nothing wrong, other than he was the one that pulled the trigger. I mean, if the protocols weren't tight enough and strict enough, they need to be changed. But that's not his fault,
Right.
And I hate to say that for this family and for the woman that died, but
Yeah, it's a very tragic event.
it's just the person that loaded the round in the gun, whether accidentally or not, is the one that needs to be charged. That's my opinion, and everyone else needs to be charged if they did not follow all protocols. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, guys.
I agree with that. So.
Yeah. Guys, make sure to like and subscribe. Ring the bell. We have lots more content coming for you.
Yeah, check out the freespeechforum.com. There's
Yep.
a thread going on there right now. People are talking about
Yep.
this event. So.
We are all on there. We're commenting, talking, chatting. Join the conversation, guys. But we'll see you in the next one.
See you next time.